This helpless orca got stranded for hours. What happened next made thousands of people smile. Whales are one of the sea's most amazing creatures. Their immense size and graceful movements always bestow a sense of awe and wonderment in people when they see these amazing creatures. So when this helpless orca got stranded for hours on a beach, these people did something extraordinary. It was the 4th of January 2021, and Colin Hedworth and his wife Heather had decided to go for a morning walk to their local beach in Orkney. Orkney is an archipelago off the northeastern coast of Scotland. Orkney is home to many wondrous things, such as Neolithic sites, tall sandstone cliffs, and seal colonies. But it was one particular ocean resident who caught the couple's attention that day. Being just after Christmas, Colin and Heather were still very much in the spirit of the holidays and were looking forward to a lovely walk. Despite the harsh Scottish weather, which included strong winds off of the sea and quite a bit of rain, at first everything was normal on their walk. But as the couple approached the beach, they noticed a strange object lying on the sand. It was rather large and looked almost like a rock, only it was completely black with a few white spots. To begin with, Colin thought that it looked like a dolphin, as they were common in the area and it wasn't rare to see them hunting or playing off of the coast. The man could sort of make out what looked to be a fin of some sort, ruling out the possibility of the object being a seal. But as the husband and wife duo got closer to the unidentified object, they were shocked to discover what it actually was. It turned out that the creature wasn't a fun-loving dolphin at all, but a young whale, more specifically, an orca. What was the animal doing on the beach? The couple thought. They knew that if they didn't act quickly, then there was a very real chance that the whale would die. Immediately after confirming that the animal was actually still alive, Colin called the British Divers Marine Life Rescue, otherwise known as the BDMLR, to ask for help. The volunteers at the BDMLR were astonished to hear what the Hedworths had found. They knew that there was a pod of orcas common to Orkney, and they had named it the 27s pod. The 27s are a pod of 8 individual orcas who are frequently sighted in Shetland in the Orkney Isles, and they have also been spotted hunting harbor porpoises around Iceland. But as common as these animals were in the seas around the Isles, it was incredibly rare for one of them to get stranded on a beach. After getting the call, the local area coordinator, Emma Neve Webb, alerted a small team who were quick to race to the Bay of Newark where the animal had been discovered. Once the experts were on the scene, they were able to determine that the whale was likely still alive because it was still in the surf of the sea. However, it was just parallel to it, meaning that the animal couldn't wiggle its way back into the water. Luckily, nature was on the helpers' side as the tide was quickly heading in. Before getting to work on returning the whale to the sea, though, the volunteers quickly assessed the animal to see if they could determine its sex, length, and rough age. From their very succinct observations, it was believed that the animal was a young male and that it was around 3.4 meters, roughly 11 feet, in length, with the average adult orca being roughly 9 meters or 30 feet in length. It meant that the whale who had ended up beached was actually only an adolescent. The experts estimated that it was likely 3 to 4 years old and not maternally dependent, meaning that it didn't need its mother for food anymore. Because it was still young, though, it had probably mistimed the sea, and while hunting in the shallows of the water, hadn't realized that the tide had been going out. With the tide quickly on its way in, though, the experts didn't have time to stick around and admire the poor animal. In a Facebook post, the BDMLR said an incoming tide meant the focus was on righting the animal, monitoring breathing, etc., so sexing wasn't carried out, but from ID photos taken, it is thought this was a young male. This might explain why there was no sign of any other animals in the bay. As a juvenile, it may have left its pod, or they could perhaps simply be further offshore. However, even though the orca was only a juvenile, it was still much too big for the experts to save on their own. Seeing that they were going to need some help, they sent out a plea asking for locals of the village to come and assist them. Thankfully, with the help of the local volunteers, the team was able to get the whale upright. Then it was time for the next step, getting the animal back into the ocean. By this time, the tide had come in quite a bit, and the whale was actually able to start floating off of the sand a little bit. This allowed the volunteers to maneuver the orca so that it was facing the open ocean. Then, to make things easier for the whale, a dolphin stretcher was placed underneath it to support it as the water rose around it. This is a piece of equipment that is pretty much like a normal stretcher that would be used to move humans. The only difference is that these stretchers are designed to withstand the weight of animals such as dolphins, seals, and whales. When asked about the equipment, the BDMLR said that funds from donations had enabled them to purchase the life-saving equipment, but that they still needed a lot of different pieces of equipment in order to help animals to the best of their abilities. In a Facebook post, the BDMLR said, "More personal safety kits are desperately needed to aid with rescues and ensure safety of those assisting. If you would like to help fund this and other essential kit for the team, please do donate via our Just Giving page." Because the orca had been out of the water for a while, it needed a bit of time to gain its strength back before it was able to hold itself up in the water. But it wasn't long before the cool and refreshing sea woke the animal up and it started showing signs of wanting to swim off. The rescue operation took roughly an hour before the whale started to show signs of movement. But the time was worth it, as what happened next made thousands of people smile. The orca finally found its strength and swam off. In a Facebook post, the BDMLR said, "It rolled a couple of times and then submerged and continued straight out away from the beach without looking back. After monitoring for an hour, medics were confident the animal was no longer in the location and are hopeful it will stay out." The video of the whale's moment of release was posted online, and thousands of people all over the world rejoiced in its survival. What a heartwarming story. It just proves that if humans put their minds to protecting and saving the world and the creatures in it, then the Earth will be a much better place. Let me know what you thought of the video in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more incredible content.